Okay, welcome back. We're looking at trigonometry and the angle questions this time. So we have our right angle triangle. Remember, trigonometry in the Sokotoa is for right angle triangles only, and that is indicated by this square in the corner. This tells us that this triangle is a right angle triangle. Okay, so this one here. Okay, let me go hold my brush, make sure my brush is working. I've got a red pen there. Let's change it to that. So as long as we've got this in the corner, we can use trigonometry software. Okay, let's go to that now. Don't do that anymore. Okay, good. Now, step number one. What do we do first? We need to label our diagrams. So let's have a look. Do we have here? We have a line. Let's go for this thing. So opposite the angle is the what's it called? Opposite angle is called the opposite. Okay, now then we go opposite the right angle. Opposite the right angle we have the hypotenuse. So we need to know what these are. And the leftover side is called the adjacent. So let's put a little arrow on here to show that it's all going that way. Okay, now let's circle. Now let's see what the question is about. In our question, we want to work out the angle. And we know the opposite and the adjacent. So is the question connected to O and A? O and A is OA, which comes from TOA, which comes from our lovely little triangle. Here we go. So we're going to draw a little formula triangle, and we're going to put a little bar in the middle over here. Bear with me. Okay, let's put down here what we have. Let's get back to our paintbrush. So we have T, tan of the angle, and the T goes first, and then the O goes up into the triangle, and then the A gets copied down. And we've dropped a couple of times in between. So here we have our TOA triangle. The TOA triangle will help us a lot. It'll help us to tell us what to do. Now, we can use, everybody has a thumb, so we're going to use our thumb or our finger to cover what we need to work out. So in this particular question, we are trying to work out the angle, so represented by this theta symbol here. So you're trying to work out this angle here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these circles in a second, but that's what I'm looking at. So let's undo that. Okay, here we go. So the angle is here in my diagram. So I'll cover that up with my finger. Here's my fingernail. So we have tan of the angle, which is what I've covered up, is equal to the opposite divided by the adjacent. Hopefully we can all see that. I'm going to get rid of those lines now. That's really wrong. The opposite divided by the adjacent. Now, we don't want to work out tan of the angle in reality. All we need to work out is the angle. So we have an extra part here in the question. So I got a tan here extra. So we have to take the tan to the other side. We have to do the opposite of tan. Now the opposite of tan is called inverse tan. Oops, I'm writing down the wrong thing now. Okay, so we left with the angle. So I take the tan over. Tan is what's acting on the angle. So when I take the tan to the other side, it becomes the opposite of tan. And the opposite of tan is written as tan to the -1, which is called inverse tan. Okay, so like for example, opposite of times is divide, opposite of add is minus, opposite of tan is tan -1. So it doesn't have a new name, it just has this symbols here. So opposite divided by adjacent. Let me put square brackets here. Okay, so this particular question compared to the last question we just did in the last video is a little bit more involved, but not too much more involved. So we have to move the tan out of the way to the other side and make the inverse tan of the whole lot. So now let's put some values in. So we have our angle is equal to tan -1. Now the opposite is equal to 7 meters. And the adjacent from the diagram, so here's opposite. And here's the adjacent, which is 4. Get rid of those lines now. So 7 divided by 4. So now we need to grab our trusty calculator our little friend here, Casio one. So let's just reset all this. So you press Shift tan. And that brings up the inverse tan. 10 minus 1. Shift tan. And now you've got a fraction here, so let's press the fraction button. So we type in the 7, you press replay, and we type in the 4. Then we press the, no, sorry, wrong. We're going to go back up first, and then you press the bracket. So tan minus 1, the bracket starts up. You put in the fraction button, type in 7, replay, 4, replay, and then the brackets again, and then we press the equal sign, and that gives us a lovely answer of 60.255. I have to memorize that because when I start typing it'll disappear. So let's theta equals 60.255 degrees. Now we need to round the answer off because that's not really sensible to 1 decimal place. So that gives you 60.2 degrees to 1 dp. So these questions are a little bit more involved, but not too much. You got one extra step where we have to get rid of the tan and do inverse tan. Okay, so let's have a look. Give me a second. Right, 60.255. If we look at this again, so that should give us actually 60.3. Okay, because this number here is telling us 5 or more, add 1. So 60.3. Okay, so thank you for that correction. So we've done that now, 60.3. Yes.